while he was still growing up and he was beginning to make move in politics, because he already started to protest. Perhaps he didn't like the way that the French were treating the African people, his own people. So I can hear that from you. That is why he was protesting. But can we pinpoint maybe like a kind of event that have happened in those days while he was still young that could have maybe influencing the more? I don't know, maybe somebody died, maybe an incident happened in the school, or maybe somebody, anything that happened that we can point, a kind of incident in his time that maybe could have been jiggering that could have been jiggering him more to take his own stand.
Firstly, before Sékou Touré started his fight against the French colonialist people, there was an event that happened because I read a book of an author that talks about the ins and the outs of Sékou Touré. It said that one of the remarkable events that happened whereby Sékou Touré protested was that during the break time when they were like at the primary school, they did not give the food to his friends. Okay, and that happened regularly and frequently, and he realized that this was not fair, and he tried to protest in order to involve his friends into that process, in order to reclaim their rights, in order to reclaim what they are supposed to have as Guineans, as an Africans, because they were just over there and treating them as like black people who do not have any dignity. And that's why he had that inspirations in order to involve his friends. And later on, he created a trade union whereby all the leaders, Guinea's leaders, were over there. He didn't start being in the political party. He started being in the union, in the trade unions, whereby he was the leader over there, and he was trying to lead his friends on the movement in order to make a better place for everyone there. Because the one significant aspect there was that when he started the trade unions, the workers over there did not have any right for the salaries, for their emancipation in the society, and he reclaimed their rights as well. And he protested like for days and days in order to make things on the right track for the people in the Republic of Guinea, which try to recognize him on the African continent and been called by the first president of the Côte d'Ivoire to create a regional party of the RDA in the Republic of Guinea.
All right, that's interesting. So, at this time of creating the political party, at what age was him? How old was him at this time? About more, maybe not exactly the year, but like about how old was him at this time?
He was not even married at that moment. He was not even married at that moment. He was really young, by the way. And he was the youngest leader in that party at the moment. But he was the most influential person in that party. The youngest, but the most influential person in the party.
That's great. That's great. All right. We're beginning to get the picture now. Okay. You said something very important that when he left the school because he didn't like, okay, I think he was expelled from school. He went and started to study. He did what many people, of course, are being advised to do today, that you need to educate yourself. No, you can go to school, but that is not enough until you educate yourself. Where you're going to be lacking behind. So he decided to educate himself, reading books and all that. Could you spend some time there, explain to us more, like what kind of books was he really reading? How was he getting the material to educate himself? And anything you want to share with us there? Why was he really doing that?
Firstly, the book that I read about him is that he did not have a lot of money, and he tried to like work for how can we say that? He tried to work for some people to clean their shoes in the area he was living in, to clean their shoes. Okay. And the money that he had at that moment, he split out that money in two parties. The first party was that he used to buy shoes, dresses, clothes, garments in order to look good. And the second part of that money, he used to buy so many books. Again, he used to buy so many books, and those books that he used to go to the communism area, because like in Guinea at the moment, there were so many French people who used to come to Guinea, and there were so many communists in Guinea, and he was really familiar with them because those people have the same ideas with him, because he was not a capitalist, he was a communist at that moment. And those people trained him, and while giving him so many books to read, you get? And that's why like he had the mind of socialism when he led the Republic of Guinea.
All right. Thank you so much for that. That is very clear. Okay, now, how did he actually rise to prominence in Guinea? Like, when did he begin to wield his influence? Can you tell us about how he got to the position that he could actually be considered a leader in this time?
What I have to say to you that the power is not for you. The real power is the people. And Sékou Touré at that moment, he was very, very lucky to be loved by the Guinean community and the African as a whole continent. And especially the women were behind him. And there were like a song that they used to sing. Sékou Touré Basiliso, Tabara Fede Basiliso, Sékou Touré Basiliso, Tabara Fede Basiliso. That means that the elephant is here. Let's clap for the elephant. Let's clap for the elephant. Even today, the symbol of the Republic of Guinea is the elephant, which we call Sili. Okay? And people were behind him because the things that he was fighting for was very, very, very important and crucial, and people were in need of that, and nobody had that mindset in order to fight for that, and he had that gut to try to participate into the emancipations of the Guinean community. And as you know, at that moment, there were so many social restrictions, even at the cinema, even so many social environments. But he said he made a mind to fight for that in order to create a better place for the community.
How do you describe his own style of leadership? Because now you are a young undergrad, you are graduating soon because you're in your final year.
Yeah.
You have this much passion about leadership, which is something very, very important for us as Africans, no? And also because the person we are talking about today, Ahmed Sékou Touré, he wasn't an old person when he started to have interest in politics. He was already young, very young, when he started to have interest in a fair state. He didn't like the way the French were treating his people, so he wanted freedom for them. And this happened while he was still very young. That is why I really like the idea that you are the one talking about it, because we could have also called a professor who have studied a lot, who probably have had a lot of experience in life. For this reason, he come to like Sékou Touré as a person. But you are a young person and you are looking at this individual in our society, try to learn from them. That is something very interesting. Now, tell me, how do you see his own leadership style?
I did not leave the moment of Sékou Touré, but I'm pretty sure that I know the life of Sékou Touré more than so many people who have who live the moment of Sékou Touré, because I read a lot about Sékou Touré, and so many of my friends criticized me at school because we were studying Sékou Touré, and the books that we were reading were against Sékou Touré's leadership. And I was supporting the leadership style of Sékou Touré. And so many people were saying that I am I am a revolutionist. Like, I love revolutions. Like, I'm a kind of people who is dictator and those kind of things. I said, you cannot try to criticize someone fully. Try to understand the ins and the outs of his leadership style and what are some of the things that drove him into that aspect.